Welcome to Surrogacy Talk with me, your fabulous host and family building expert, Frank Golden. I'll be talking about surrogacy, IVF, and making babies. Hello and welcome back. I'm joined today by the fabulous Erica Daybook. Good morning, Erica.
Good morning, Frank.
And my husband and our director of operations, Adam Golden. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning.
So today we are going to do a podcast about CampOut Family Camp, which we did one last year. So I found it only fitting that we kind of go back and do like another recap, talk about our experiences, because we did go back again this year. Just as a refresher, to let everyone know about how amazing it really is. Did you want to dive in with any questions, Erica, or do you want me to just kind of...
I guess I just want to know more about CampOut and, more about the camp itself. And then I just want to hear about your experiences.
Yeah. So Adam is the true expert here. He went to, there's a camp for children in Decatur, Michigan, and it's called Lake of the Woods Camp, which is the girls' half of the camp, and then Greenwoods Camp, which is the boys' half. So it's all the same on the same land. They just kind of separated in those two ways. And Adam, how many summers did you attend as a child, and how old were you?
I went to Greenwoods Camp for 8 years, starting when I was 8 years old. Or
Wow.
Yes, when I was 8 years old.
8 years old. So that's really fun. So that started after school lets out and then lasts, 8 weeks?
They have different lengths of camp. They actually now have a 2-week camp, a 4-week camp, and an 8-week camp. I went for 4, all years except one year I went for 8 weeks.
Awesome. So it's a camp for children, but over the last few years, the camp has repurposed the camp out of season for the children for families. So one weekend they have family camp, and then the following weekend they have CampOut, which is like family camp, but it's for all LGBTQ families of different structures. So 2 dad families, 2 mom families, single parents are there as well. So it's really a unique opportunity for members of the LGBTQ community who have children to all converge at the campground and have we have all of our children there. So it's a really unique opportunity. This was the 3rd year of CampOut, and this was it was our 2nd year attending. And so our daughter she'll be 6 in October, and our son just turned 2 in July, and she was 4 last year when we went, and she absolutely loved it. She remembered all of the activities. And then as it got closer, like towards the beginning of the spring, she started asking, when are we going back to camp?
Did she still like the archery?
The archery?
I remember that was her wasn't that her favorite, or am I mistaken?
She talked about archery a lot. So she definitely did that again this year. So I want to go through some of the activities, because I don't know if we covered all of that last time. I was just like super excited, and I don't know if I went through every single thing.
It was really about you being a part of a unique experience where you were amongst a bunch of LGBTQ families. And so we really focus on like that kind of like that dynamic and how that must have felt for Sophia, and just to be a part of, that sense of community. So I would love to hear more about the offerings of the camp and how the camp runs and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So
and I also want to hear about your emotional experience as well, of course.
Well,
we'll talk about everything.
Definitely. So the camp has many amenities and many activities. So for everyone out there listening in the LGBTQ community who has children, many of the families were from the Chicagoland area, a lot of Michigan. There were some from the Minnesota area. So really kind of all over the place. Last year, a family drove in from Canada.
Oh, wow.
So if you're in the area or you're within, a 5 to 6 hour, maybe if it's a little longer driving time, definitely worth it. This year it was from August 17th through the 20th. So we arrived there Friday mid-afternoon, and then we left that following Monday midday as well. So some of the activities that the camp has, definitely a lot of water activities, swimming. There's a pool and lake swimming. The lake is really awesome. The water temperature, it's not a huge lake, so the water temperature was really nice and warm. It was really great for swimming, especially when you have young children. They had 2 water trampolines, and one had a slide, and one had this like blow up inflatable end where you could like jump on it and catapult the other person off. It was it was incredible. It was so much fun. In addition, you can go canoeing, kayaking, paddle boarding, sailing. You can go on the boat and you can just do kind of a ride around the lake, or you can do skiing. They'll show you how to ski, or you can go tubing. In addition, you can also do swimming or fishing. And then in terms of land activities, there's archery, there's riflery, horseback riding, and there's wall climbing.
Wow.
So there's different activities for really everyone of all age groups, I guess you could say. And then they've got obviously a few different basketball courts, a tennis court. There's something called tramp ball, right? It's like a trampoline volleyball hybrid sport. Yeah. So there's all sorts of different activities. Even if you have really young children, there's always at least a family or 2 that have newborns, and they're not limited. They still come because there are still activities that they can partake in, and it's fun in terms of the social aspect. So even if you don't have children that can't partake in all those other activities, the social aspect with other parents is really great. And there's also a section of the camp where you can go and do crafts.
Nice.
So they can, there's like coloring on creating cups. We did tie-dye, made tie-dye shirts with Sophia.
Yeah. I think they had different activities at different days.
Yeah.
The arts and crafts.
And another thing to note is that when you're out there in the camp and you're doing all of these activities, you're not alone. So when you go and do, for instance, sailboating, there's a counselor there to show you how to do that activity and do it in a safe way. When you're swimming, there's lifeguards, there's, trained professionals, counselors operating the boats and all the equipment. So literally all you have to do is show up to the activity, and there's a counselor there who's trained in that activity to teach you how to do it and how to do it safely. Sophia loved interacting with the gentleman who was showing her how to do archery this year. We have some really great photos. He crouched down and showed her how to load up the arrow and how to pull the bow back and all of that good stuff. And so that's really, really cool. And then there's also a structure there called Bob's Lodge, which all of the parents, especially if you've been at CampOut, are familiar with and excited about, where there are counselors that will actually care for your children during certain blocks of the day, so that the parents can have kind of like a resting hour or 2 to kind of regroup, maybe go out and
Probably very necessary.
It's really great, because then you can go out and do an activity together as a couple while your children are still cared for and having fun. They've got different movies and activities in the Bob's Lodge area. And then in addition, for the adults, every evening at 9 p.m. begins adult social hour. So you can have, it costs a little extra, but you can have a counselor come to your cabin and care for your children, look after them while they sleep, and you can have social hour at the dining hall. And it's a really great opportunity to interact with the other families and other parents and get to know kind of where everyone came from and how they learned about camp, and are you coming back next year? Are you having fun? So it's a really great dynamic of fun activities and then the social aspect of it with all of the different parents. It's really a great opportunity. Do you have anything to add that I might have missed, Adam? And this is probably surreal for Adam because you went there as a child. So now we get to bring Sophia and Silas there. So what do you think about the prospects of them attending?
Yes. Sophia's already talking about going there as she gets older.
Oh.
She technically can go next year, but we may still wait another couple years just to make sure she's ready. But yeah, she loves it. She loved archery. She loved doing arts and crafts. She loved going tubing, doing horseback riding, swimming in the lake. The kids just had a ball.
Yeah, it was really great. One of the nights they actually set up like a movie screen out by the water, and they were playing a Disney movie or Pixar movie out there, and you could set up a chair or a blanket and watch by the lake.
That's cool.
Yeah, just really, really great. And
It just sounds like the ultimate camp experience. Like anything you could possibly think to do at camp, you can do there, which is super fun.
it's just, and for me, I never went to camp as a child, so I
Me
didn't
either.
know anything about what it's about. The other thing for everyone listening to know is that you're not sleeping in a tent. There are cabins. You can share the cabins with other families. There's different cost structures for all of that, so it's great. There's multiple bunk beds per cabin. There's a shower, different, there's sinks inside. So you're not quote unquote roughing it.
Right.
You are able to be out there in the wilderness and enjoy all that the camp has to offer, but you're not backpacking. It's a
Right.
different camp experience. But it's wonderful, especially being a family that's, a member of the LGBTQ community. You know that you're going there for the weekend. You're not going to be judged based on your family makeup. Your children can interact with other children that have similar family makeups. And last year and this year as well, what we noticed is that the children that attend are very well behaved. They're very educated. They treat one another with a sense of respect and
Wow. understanding.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the uniqueness of their family makeup.
Yep.
And every, this was our second year, and that noticeable change in children that aren't, part of that like group is drastic. So everyone there that is attending, they're doing a great job raising their families, and they come to camp and they have a really, really great time.
I have a question. I remember we discussed Sophia's reaction last year to seeing kids with two moms or two dads, and she handled it well, of course, but she also was kind of just like, no, I don't think they have two dads. Like maybe a little bit confused about it because she's so used to being unique in her own personal life.
Yeah.
How did she embrace that this year? Has it changed at all? She's only 5, so
Yeah, that's a good question. Last year we were trying to point it out to her because it was a new
right.
experience, and she was in disbelief. She was like, no,
Right.
that's not, This year we did mention it briefly before we got to camp. And then while we were there, I don't think we brought it up as much because we wanted to see if she
Right.
brought it to our attention, and she didn't. So I think that means that she doesn't see the difference.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Like it's not a distinguishable difference.
How cool.
And it's so cool and so unique. She just looks at all of the different family makeups in her world, completely normal. Nothing is wrong with it. It didn't even raise, a flag to her in terms of she needed to bring it to our attention. It was just like, these are their moms, or, this is little
Right.
Danny's fathers. Like that's her world. So everything was completely awesome to her the whole time.
How cool is that?
But we have 2 children. Silas is only 2, and believe me, they are completely different children.
Yes.
So
They are.
I'm excited to see like what. And plus he's a boy too, so I'm excited to learn over the next couple of years what his take on going to camp will be. I think it'll probably be similar just because of how fluid we are and open we are in dialogue with them around their makeup and where they came from and everything. But still, it'll be quite different. It'll be, and
sure.
I'm excited to find out those differences.
Did Silas seem to, being 2 years old now, he's a little bit more of a personality and he's a little bit more of a human being, if you will. Did he seem to enjoy himself just as much, or has that changed at all?
He did. There were many activities that he still couldn't do because of his
Sure.
height and how small he
Aw.
is. So he was in the stroller a lot. But he loved swimming. He loved being in the water. We actually took him up on the water trampoline and
Oh,
sent him down
fun.
the slide, and I was at the bottom, so I caught him. And he went, boop, dunked under the water, came up, was all smiles. Like, he had fun. He was loving it. Sophia, on the other hand, she was not super thrilled about the water slide
okay.
situation. But I think next year but hey, I give her, some credit. She went out on the lake and did tubing for the first time,
Good for her.
and she loved it. So, and I think there's a difference because she's in swim class and she swims in a pool where she can see the bottom, and it's different when you're lake swimming. But the counselors did a really great job at like making her feel at ease, and it's okay, Sophia, we're going to have fun. And we always had, another thing is we always had a counselor sitting at our table, which Sophia loved to just chat with the counselor about her day and what activities she was loving. So I think the camp does a really great job. The coordinator, Emily, she does a really great job at coordinating the event. Her and there's another staff member, I believe her name is Keely, correct, Adam? They do a really great job. They put their heart and soul into, coordinating everything, sending out surveys to ask for feedback, keeping everyone in the loop and engaged throughout the entire year via the Facebook group. So there's a CampOut Facebook group, and they like to post pictures and things throughout the year of the previous events, and they keep us all excited and looking forward to next year. So, and that work begins, I'm pretty sure she'll begin immediately, starting on the next campaign. So she does a phenomenal job, and she's there. She's there with us for CampOut. And so, her and Keely and then all of the counselors that are there, they're just incredible. They're there the whole season with the children, and so they have to be tired. And then we show up with our, crying, screaming children sometimes because they get cranky. And the counselors are just, they're still happy and helpful and glad to be there and help us with all the activities. Is that kind of similar, Adam, from when you were there as a child? Were the counselors the same type of,
sounds like a high caliber counselor if you're that energetic throughout the whole summer.
Was that the experience you had attending camp?
Yeah. The counselors are always young, energetic, outdoors type people that love activity.
Yeah.
And I think you'd have to love that kind of a job in order to do it. It's very hands-on and long hours, lots of kids. So you have to really love camp to participate in that, I think. So I'm interested in how the camps change. Do you notice more families than last year? Did you see a lot of familiar faces?
So I think last year there were close to 30 or 40 families. This year I think it was 60.
Oh my goodness.
They had a lot of, last year.
That's a huge increase.
It's a huge increase. Last year families were able to basically, for the most part, I think everyone had their own cabin. This year many families bunked together. So in order to get everyone in and accommodate them. So it grew dramatically, and most of the attendance is really driven through word of mouth. So
sure.
I really believe that, and especially as more and more LGBTQ members are having families now, which is amazing, they will look for venues and activities and places and things like this to take their family to and attend. So I think, if anything, CampOut is just going to become even more and more popular.
Oh, sure.
And especially with the quality of everything. I mean, this was our second year, and I didn't notice anything that was lacking. If everything was on par, the staff was fabulous, the activities were wonderful. So if anything, I foresee growth in the future. So
that's very exciting. I mean, that's a huge increase of families.
Yeah.
What age group of kids? So did Sophia have a lot of kids her own age to play with? Did any teenagers go? How old? What's the oldest family? I guess how old?
Oh, that is such a good question.
Is it too old to go with your family to camp? Because I would,
there were some older children.
I want to go at 29.
Yeah, there were some older kids there, but I think the norm or the average age was probably somewhere between Adam, 2 and 7, 2 and 8.
So young families.
It was young. It was more on the younger side, I think, from what I saw. But then again, there were so many families this time that it was impossible.
Right.
Yeah, I would say it's probably mostly 2 to 12-year-olds. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if that age creeps up the longer it's around, because I think there's more and more LGBTQ families coming along. If you were to go back 15 years, there were less of those families had kids. So
exactly.
Right.
And when our kids are 15, I hope to still be going.
Right, that's a good point. So as these younger families who are attending now keep going throughout the years, and our children are growing. And that was another fun aspect, seeing the couples from last year and how big their children have gotten. And they said the same thing about Sophia, wow, she's gotten so tall. And I'm like, oh my goodness, your child is not even recognizable anymore. They've grown so much.
That's so cool.
That was really a cool thing too.
That's something to look forward to every year. How nice for you guys. Every year you get to see familiar faces, and Sophia will have a built-in group of friends that she can always look forward to summers with. And maybe one day when she's ready to go to camp on her own, some of those kids will have decided that they also want to go to camp, and it'll just be like this whole big awesome camp experience that Adam got as a child.
It's
that neither Frank nor I did.
It's amazing. And one of the nights they do a campfire with everyone.
That's so nice.
And they have very talented musicians. There's a gentleman there that plays guitar and is a quite talented vocalist. And there was a lady there with him this year who was also quite a talented vocalist. And they'll basically take requests. You could tell them what you want to hear, and they can basically pick it up and start singing anything. And it's just like so cool.
Cool.
And at the end of camp, one of their traditions is the relay. There's an activity relay where basically all of the campers are divided into two teams, red and blue. And then there's all of these different activities that they have to do. So it's like obstacle courses, and you do your activity, and then a runner from that team goes to the next activity and tells them they can start. And at the end, whoever finishes all the activities and gets down to the beach first needs to build a fire from scratch, rubbing sticks together.
No, you get a match.
Do you get do you get a match?
Yeah,
okay. So so you start a fire, and then you have to get your fire so high to burn a rope. And whoever can burn that rope and have the rope fall apart basically first wins. And
That's cool.
It's really challenging. We had the good fortune of, and knock on wood, watch next year we'll lose, but we had the good fortune of the last 2 years being on the winning team, which was blue. Go blue. And red was beating us first, and red got to the fire first, but then we came in and we got our fire, just at the right angle, and we won.
That's
so so that's really a fun thing every year to look forward to. And then I know that they've started giving out pennants to all the families. And for each year of CampOut, you'll receive a button. So we have the 2017 button, which was red, and now we've got the 2018 button, which was yellow. And we'll collect them throughout the years and hopefully have this nice patchwork of rainbow-colored buttons from all the years that we've attended CampOut.
That's awesome.
So, a really great weekend again. Really excited for going back next year. They're doing a really wonderful thing out there. So the more people that know about CampOut and can attend, the better, because it's always fun to see fresh faces and to meet all of these new families. And
well, thank you for sharing that. That sounds like an amazing experience to bond with your community as well as your family.
Yes.
Do you have anything else you guys wanted to add that we didn't go over?
Do you have anything, Adam?
No, but I had a really good time at CampOut, and I really look forward to going next year.
Awesome.
So thank you everyone who has tuned in and would love to learn more about CampOut. The website for CampOut is campoutcamp.com. And then you can also learn more by visiting our website. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Frank Golden reminding you that everyone deserves a family.